Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi. We are on Love 99.5 FM. We are on myjoyonline.com. We are live in all 16 regions of Ghana. We are live on KTU Radio in Kufredia, Fafai FM in Joje. We are on Gangai FM in Jirapa. Live on X Spaces on Facebook. The Midday News is sponsored by Petrol Sol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Sol is always a delightful experience, and also brought to you by Dura Plus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDP pipes and water tank. We are the only water storage tank with a level indicator. Where Dura Plus goes, water flows. This afternoon, former head of Ghana's pension regulator describes deal to sell of shares owned by SNIT in some hotels as a bad deal, joining the growing opposition to the decision.
This transaction wouldn't help pensioners, wouldn't help contributors. These properties, the values would appreciate going to the future. You don't sell something that would appreciate.
We have details as he takes on the representatives of workers on the SNIT board for failing in their duty to protect the interests of workers.
It's quite strange that we have 4 people representing workers, but they couldn't stop it. Whatever might have happened in the boardroom, they couldn't stop it. The people they are representing says, we don't want this transaction. That doesn't speak well of us in terms of governance.
But leaders of Labour have been defending their members on the board.
We thought that the Labour needed more membership on the Senate board because those 4 members can always be outnumbered by a vote. We have 4, but we are still in the minority.
Also this afternoon, imminent fuel shortage in the country as a strike by tanker drivers over poor conditions of service enters day 2. Details as their counterparts in the Ashanti region join the action.
And is their safety not needed? Their welfare not needed? We have worked with an empty stomach for so long. Some of tanker drivers in this country take 300 Ghana cedis a month.
We'll get to hear from the NPA, which says it's taking steps to resolve the impasse.
There was an initial document that was arrived at, but 2 months ago when we met to have a discussion and agree and possibly sign to that document, parties to the same meeting had disagreement with portions of the document.
We're live on the ground, plus a response from the oil marketing companies, and EC dismisses allegations of the use of allegedly stolen BVRs to secretly register voters. They say the claims are baseless, without merit, and must be disregarded.
The Commission urges the public to disregard these baseless and unfounded allegations as they are without merit.
Their sports.
Black Starlets' qualification for the semi-finals of the Waffle Zone B tournament has ignited optimism for future resurgence of the Black Stars.
And we see death every day. The words of a 46-year-old end-stage kidney failure patient. More in our dialysis crisis series as she expresses fear she may not live long enough to witness government's promise to come to their aid.
When we are there, we discuss what happens to us. Death every day. We see, and you ask yourself, am I the next person?
That's and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu. Thanks for staying on. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. We kickstart from the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, Dr. Daniel Sedo, has joined growing opposition to a deal to sell off some SNIT hotels to a Greek minister, Brian Champon's Rock City Hotel. Organised Labour have been up in arms against the deal, demanding an urgent meeting with the president following publications by North Tong MP Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa that brought the transaction to light. Dr. Sedo says the transaction is bad and does not inure to the benefit of workers in whose interests SNIT should be working.
This transaction wouldn't help pensioners, wouldn't help contributors. These properties, the values would appreciate going to the future. You don't sell something that would appreciate. You don't sell, really, if there's hotel business, why would you sell? If there's a business that you can run and make profit, why would you be eager to sell? So that what? If you invest in, let's say, long-term asset, the hotels as we are being told, then you go ahead subsequently to sell it or give control to somebody else. You are defeating the purpose for which the fund has been set up. So why do we dispose of the profitable assets and start struggling and start looking for other people's money to help us meet our obligation? Because if Labadi Beach is under contract and is being managed and is being profitable, probably what SNIT could do is say, look, guys in Labadi Beach, can we make these other hotels available to you to make it profitable and pay us higher dividend? That is a very simple thing to do. Take it that, okay, truly they needed money. Why wouldn't they look for well-established hotels, people who have that skill set, say, guys, can you bring money and then help manage this and structure the arrangement such that if they make money, there's a formula to share. If you don't make money, there's nothing for you.
Dr. Daniel Sedo has also been criticizing representatives of organized labor who sit on the SNIT board for failing to oppose the deal but not also making it public.
You need to understand what happens in the boardroom. If you don't have the energy for the boardroom, you go and everything they say, you support it. You raise your hand to vote in support of it. That is why I'm saying, even as we pick people to serve on boards, let's pick people who have the time and then the capacity to read board documents, do their own research, and be able to make the relevant contribution in the boardroom.
Okay.
Now, if the effectiveness of the board is what we are seeing in this sale and other things we are discussing, what is leaking out is a reflection that, look, it's not going well in the boardroom. If I represent a certain constituency and I do not support the transaction in the boardroom, I should go back to my constituents and say, this is what happened. So you mobilize support from them. But it's quite strange that we have 4 people representing workers, but they couldn't stop it. Whatever might have happened in the boardroom, they couldn't stop it. It's out there. The people they are representing says, we don't want this transaction. That doesn't speak well of us in terms of governance. I mean, people must stand for values and what they believe in. And in that boardroom even, state their position.
Dr. Daniel Sedo is the former boss of the pension scheme, that's the SNIT, and he's been speaking on the Super Morning Show. But the Trades Union Congress has been defending their representatives on the board. According to Director of Research and Policy at TUC, Dr. Kwabena Nyako, their reps are a minority on the board, and organized labor had also been taking steps behind the scenes.
These are investment decisions, and sometimes you actually do not want to jeopardize SNIT and its decisions.
So what changed? So what changed yesterday?
So what changed actually is that we now realize that the whole process had been fast-tracked.
The reason why it's important to hold your feet to the fire, that's why you have 4 people on the board. I must put to you, that is failing in your duty to protect the workers.
Not necessarily. You see, there are a lot of things the TUC does behind the scenes, and not everything that we put into the public domain. But we thought that we needed a meeting at the highest level to be able to address some of the issues.
But that meeting took 2 years. Specifically, did you raise the Brian Champon Rock City sale of 60% stake with the president last year?
Not necessarily. We didn't raise that issue. We thought that the Labour needed more membership on the SNIT board, because those 4 members can always be outnumbered by a vote. We have 4, but we are still in the minority. We had, for example, asked that instead of getting the president to appoint the Director General of SNIT, we want the board to appoint the Director General of SNIT. You still have today board members being asked to swear an oath of secrecy to whoever.
That's Dr. Kwabena Nyako, who is Director of Research and Policy at TUC. They're defending their members on the SNIT board. They're speaking on PM Express with Evans Mensah last night. That full interview is available on all our social media platforms. You also heard earlier, Dr. Daniel Sedo is a former Chief Executive of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. They're speaking on the Super Morning Show. Well, there's more we are learning about this transaction, including a new push for a law to ban government officials from buying state assets. My colleague Kwekwa Sante joins me in studio with details of this. So there's a new document from Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa that reviews that how much SNIT is paying the transaction advisor for this deal. What does it say?
Yes, according to this document from the Center Tender Review Committee of the Finance Ministry, the acknowledged receipt of SNIT response in a revised evaluation report and is here and granted SNIT the authority to engage the recommended tenderer, that is Messrs. Same Capital, at a contract price of $491,986 US. That is $491,000. Ablakwa says at today's exchange rate, that's about 7 million Ghana cedis. He does not believe, if you look at the current deal, the Messrs. Same Capital should be paid that much money, especially when some of the hotels that are being sold are being in terms of the pricing is just the same amount.
Well, he hints at sponsoring a private member's bill to ban government officials from buying state assets.
Yes, in that interview with Evans Mensah yesterday on PM Express, he hinted that he is also going to bring this to the attention of the speaker. But he's been making a post on social media. He says, I shall be sponsoring a private member's bill in Parliament to expressly prevent politicians and politically exposed persons from participating directly or indirectly in the purchasing of state assets. The objective will be to legally block all loopholes in the current legal regime, which some politicians appear to be exploiting.
That's a quick question with details of what we are learning from the North Tongue MP Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. Well, he's getting support also from Citizens Coalition in his petition to Shraj. Well, according to the group, they say they suspect a conflict of interest in the deal due to Brian A. Champion's position as a Minister of State buying state properties. Well, Citizens Coalition also wants SNIT to be transparent and make available the full report on reasons why the Agric Minister was chosen out of all the bidders to acquire the hotels. Listen to a leading member of the group, Dr. Kojo Asante.
The urgent need to secure a fully committed management team to reverse the challenges of these parastatals and stop the hemorrhaging that continues to blight our prospects for economic recovery has not dawned on those who have been entrusted with public power to serve our interests. A situation, and I repeat, a situation that would never happen if they were running their own business. Further exacerbating our concerns are revelations that SNIT and the Rock City Hotel, owned by the current Minister of Agriculture, are engaged in negotiations to purchase 4 hotels, including the Labadi Beach Hotel, one of Ghana's most esteemed and profitable hotels in Ghana. One may ask, what is the public interest justification for a decision like that? And where is the minister raising the resources to acquire these assets? We welcome actions taken by Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwa in his petition to Shraj as it signals an important step towards addressing these issues. We also welcome the intervention of organized labor, TUC and CLOSA, as owners of the pension fund. Indeed, everyone who pays SNIT contribution should have an interest in this matter. These developments raise serious concerns about our fight against corruption and the prospects for accountable government, and whether or not indeed we are likely to recover from our current situation.
That's a leading member of the Citizens Coalition, Dr. Kojo Pumpuni Asante. Now, let's focus on the energy front, and there could be fuel shortage across the country in the coming days if immediate steps are not taken to address the concerns of Tanker Drivers Union who are on strike over poor working conditions. The union commenced an indefinite sit-down strike on Tuesday, May 21, demanding enhancement in their conditions of service. Well, this action underscores the drivers' frustrations with existing working conditions and highlights the urgency of addressing these issues to ensure the uninterrupted flow of petroleum products. National Chairman of the Union, George Nyaonu, tells my colleague Elton Brobe that despite the presidential directive in 2017 for the matter to be resolved, the oil marketing companies and the MPA have simply frustrated the process.
We did not hear a response from the president as well. Whether the petition has got to his table or not, we don't know. And clearly speaking, we are tired.
Let's look at the implications of your action. You are transporting petroleum products. You say that effective immediately. You are not doing that work any longer. What will be the implications of this action that you have taken today?
If a worker works at the end of the month without getting salary, what will be the implication to him?
This is a national security issue. Because if we have shortages...
Okay, national security issue. Who are the national security? Are we not part of national security? Tanker drivers are not part of national security. Is their safety not needed? Their welfare not needed? We have worked with empty stomach for so long. Respectfully respect our own. Take time, relax, we will assist you, we will handle it, we will do it. As I said, from 2017, the city president gave directives that some people to attend to us. And as I speak to you now, some of tanker drivers in this country take 300 Ghana cedis a month on table without paying SNIT. Can you imagine this, my brother?
But you also do understand that you work for people. The trust belongs to your bosses. I mean, have you considered the fact that it may have far more implications for you and your members if your boss decide that, okay, you are on strike, let me take my truck and give it to someone else to drive it?
If a transporter decides to take his truck and give it to another driver, fair enough. Are you saying the incoming driver who is coming to drive, is he coming to drive for free? They bought their truck.
That's the national chairman of the Union of Tanker Drivers, George Nyaun, there speaking to Elton Brobe on the Pulse on the Joy News channel. Now, members of the Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union, also in the Ashanti region, have joined the action. We can hear Sampia Edmond Baba is the chairman of the union in the Ashanti region.
Is because of our salaries and condition of service.
What has been your condition?
Yeah, the condition, the whole thing is like this. In every petroleum price build-up, there's a faction that belongs to the drivers. So, in short, when a vehicle lifts, there's a certain 13% in the freight that belongs to the driver, and it is that 13% that takes care of the salary and the condition of services of a driver, and that is what they don't give to us, and that is why we are on strike.
So that's the chairman of the union in the Ashanti region. But we are told that by the union, that the National Petroleum Authority and the OMCs are the ones fighting this. But we've been hearing from the NPA on this. Mohammed Abdul Kudus, communications manager with the authority.
The interest that my chief executive has actually shown to the applied and welfare, that he decided that, look, let me facilitate a meeting that would bring a closure to this lingering. It is something that has been there from 2017. It predates the coming into office of my chief executive, but he has decided to make it his business because there is a clear relationship between the action and inactions of the drivers and the regulatory responsibility of the National Petroleum Authority. So, insofar as their actions could actually affect the distribution of fuel, if they have a concern, it ought to be his matter. And that is why, even though directly the condition of service does not lie on his shoulder, but empathetically he decided to want to poke his nose into it and see how he could bring a solution to it. That's why I said that, yes, there was an initial document that was arrived at, but 2 months ago when we met to have a discussion and agree and possibly sign to that document, parties to the same meeting had disagreement with portions of the document.
That's Mohammed Abdul Kudus, communications manager for the National Petroleum Authority. And I've been talking about the OMCs as well. They've been accused also of frustrating the implementation of the policy framework that aims to enhance the salary and conditions of the tanker drivers. And they have a statement. My colleague Elton Brobe joins me in studio with more. What exactly are the OMCs saying?
For they are warning that the situation could lead to a serious crisis which could result in fuel shortages if the impasse is not resolved immediately. The association said it has made persistent attempt to address the concerns of the driver tankers, acknowledging the critical role of tanker drivers in the petroleum supply chain. However, they say repeated efforts by the OMCs to engage with the leadership of the transport drivers to address their concerns have unfortunately been unsuccessful. The extensive effort made to amicably resolve this issue, including seeking the intervention of the Trade Union Congress, have been unsuccessful. And this is a statement signed by the chief executive of the OMCs, Dr. Rivers Sinopo. They said that the MPA must step in, otherwise in the next few days to come we'll have fuel shortages.
And this discussion will take center stage on the Pulse at 3 p.m. on the Joy News channel with Elton Brobe. Now, what's happening on the grounds, especially Tema, where most tankers operate? My colleague Carlos Caloni is there for Joy News, joins us on the line with more. Carlos, what's the situation?
Well, Emefa, this morning I have visited about 3 of the depots, namely Chase Petroleum, the Tema Tank Farm, as well as the Centio Refinery. And at these depots, I did not see any tankers either loading or leaving the yard with load. In fact, the national chairman of the Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union, George Nyauno, confirmed to me a while ago that compliance with the strike action is high among the drivers and that the situation in Tema is the same across the country.
That's my colleague Carlos Caloni giving us updates on this particular strike by the Tanker Drivers Union. Let's get into the election headquarters now. And your election headquarters here on the Midday News is made possible by Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. The Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, AICPA and CIMA, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, and the Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service. And this afternoon, the Electoral Commission has described as baseless allegations by a group calling itself Election Watch Ghana that some allegedly stolen biometric voter registration kits have been used secretly to register voters. The EC says these claims are not only unfounded but baseless, without merit, and must be disregarded. We can hear from the EC chair responding to this, but before then we can hear from convener of Election Watch Ghana, Mark Ewusi.
Registration exercise was not accidental, but rather figures coming from the stolen BVRs. We can firmly conclude that the stolen BVRs are in the custody of unscrupulous individuals who are their counterparts, concocting and illegally registering unqualified people with the BVRs in question.
Now we can hear from the EC Commissioner in charge of operations at the EC.
The attention of the Commission has been drawn to a press conference organized by a group called Election Watch Ghana, during which one Mark Ewusi alleged that the Electoral Commission was using stolen biometric voter registration kits to register people secretly. The Commission urges the public to disregard these baseless and unfounded allegations as they are without merit. 1. The Commission has never reported that biometric voter registration kits have been stolen. The Commission reported to the security agencies that 5 laptops were missing. The Commission informed all stakeholders about the missing laptops. Describing the missing laptops as BVRs is a deliberate attempt by certain groups to deceive the public in order to sustain their unfounded allegations.
Samuel Tete, Deputy EC Chair, taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News, live on Joy 99.7 FM. In Accra, in Kumasi, we are on Love 99.5 FM and myjoyonline.com. It's made possible by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. We return from the break with sports, and we see death every day. The words of a 46-year-old end-stage kidney failure patient. More on our dialysis crisis.
When we are there, we discuss what happens to us. Death every day. We see, and you ask yourself, am I the next person?
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a Petrosol station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
The regular football season is over. But not for us here at Supersport. We've got a big deal coming your way. Get connected to DSTV to see some of football's biggest names starring in all 51 matches of Euro 2024, live and in HD. Now that's a big deal.
December is just around the corner and our nation stands at a crossroads. Will we continue down the same path or will we forge a new one together? The choice is ours, but we need every voice to be heard. That is why the New Force is investing time and resources to educate and encourage everyone about the voters ID card registration. To all of you out there unsure if your vote matters, your voice matters. Your vote is your power and your opportunity to shape the future of our motherland. Don't let others decide for you. Don't stay silent. Get up. Get out there and get your voter's ID card today. Make sure you are ready to make a difference when the time comes. Don't delay. Act now. From the 7th to the 27th of May and on the 30th of May, you can replace all missing ID cards. Every vote counts. Your vote, your destiny. A message from Nana Kwame Bediako and the New Force.
There is time for everything, including exclusive breastfeeding by mothers, which starts within the first 30 minutes baby is born till the time the child is 6 months old. Grandma,
Grandpa,
husbands.
Let's all come on board Good Life and insist that our child takes only breast milk for the first 6 months. No food, no water, no gripe water.
Breast milk has all the nutrients the child needs to grow strong and healthy. So I ask, how is your good life?
Remember that exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months is best for baby, and good growth starts with right nutrition at birth. Good Life, live it well. It's an everyday thing. Good Life from Ghana Health Service and partners with support from USAID.
Time for sports on the Midday News.
Yes, Emefa. So at the ongoing Waffle Zone B tournament, Ghana's Black Starlets, led by coach Lai Kingston, have played 2 matches, scoring 7 goals and conceding 1. They are now in the last 4 of the competition. Our former Executive Council member of the Ghana FA, Samuel Enimadu, believes their performance signals a bright future for the Black Stars.
Really building this boy for the future, and these boys will be able to fit into any team in the world if they continue with what they are doing, because the systems, the game plan, the game management, the mental toughness, the confidence in the pitch, and I can see a great future in these boys. I won't be surprised. And some of us want us to break that chains where a boy can live here straight and go to a team in Europe and get a chance, because he will change the lives of these boys, because these boys can fit into any system, and at the same time they will grow to become great assets for the nation from U20, U23, and then the Black Stars proper. So it's I'm so happy, I'm so elated to see what I'm seeing.
Sami Enimadu is the former ESCO of the GFA. Back to you, Emefa.
Thank you very much, Mubarak. It's time for our Dialysis Crisis series today, and Maxwell Ogbagba put the spotlight on 46-year-old end-stage kidney failure patient Gifty Labi. Some of them fear that they may not live long enough to witness government's promises to come to their aid. Listen.
A press conference by the Renal Patients Association of Ghana is underway. Midway, a woman in her 50s breaks down in tears, pleading for government intervention to reduce the soaring cost of dialysis treatment. Despite her impassioned plea, little has changed since then. This was sometime last year, and the cost of dialysis has only continued to rise.
I've never passed union since 11 years now. Yeah, because you eat, you drink, because the kidney is spoiled.
Meet Gifty Labi, a 46-year-old woman grappling with the harsh reality of kidney failure.
When we are there, we discuss what happens to us. Oh, we see death every day. We see. And you ask yourself, am I the next person? So you ask yourself, who will be next? You know, that you think about it. You are a human being, you think about it. As you don't have money to go for dialysis and you are suffering. And then your face will be swollen. When your friend who has CKD see you, say, where they are tired.
Then you are there and then one person's picture will be sent. So and so has died.
I'm now at Tema to meet the daughter of a renal failure patient, 26-year-old Stella Owusu. Stella's mother, Georgina Pia, was the woman who cried during the press conference last year. Our story secured her help from the Mother's Heart Foundation, and she now gets free dialysis treatment.
Even bringing my mom to this private facility, 460 cedis twice a week. I don't even get it. So it's once a week I get for my mom.
During the Joy News Big Conversation on the dialysis crisis last year, Presidential Advisor on Health Anthony Nsiasare said government was working on a permanent solution to the problem. Some of the renal failure patients fear they may not live to see the implementation.
There's a document which is built. We are working on that. I know that there's a document.
What is the policy statement on that?
The policy is that we are now doing kidney transplants, for example, in Kolebu, but we should have a law backing the donation, the storage, and then also giving the kidney to...
I take note that they use the word should.
They should. Yes.
We must have, and
we must have.
Why don't we have it?
We are working on
Kidney failure patients say they yearn to see a reduction in the cost of dialysis treatment or it absorbed by the National Health Insurance Scheme. That is what they pray for, and that is what will give them life. Maxwell Agbogba for John News.
And that's our dialysis crisis there. That series put together beautifully by Maxo Agbagba, and we're hoping that they would get what they need. And what's trending? Max and Jackie with MNJ.
Yeah, Dumsor must stop is trending, and that's because Dumsor must stop vigil was supposed to take place this weekend, but police has gone to court, and now we don't know whether it's going to happen or it's going to happen. And then earlier, Kisie Jaben must stay.
Yeah, so hashtag Kisie Jaben must stay is trending after the petition last week. People have been expressing their opinions about why they think he must stay. And let me just read this comment real quick. So someone says that the whole thing is no amount of pressure has stopped him from working. He's just doing his bit and standing for the truth.
And you know, the last time the OSP came out with all guns blazing was during that media interaction, and then our own Elton John Brobe asked him a question, and then he responded. So we can listen to that.
Those who do not understand G, please forgive me. They say, I mean, I'm Kwanoma, the Mekra, Abu Afori. Me, yeah, me to me. I'm Reswa, Eko.
Jackie ending today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Living Word with Pastor Mensah Otabil, The Father in His Household, Episode 3. I am Emefa. Apawu. Have a good afternoon.